I don't know who you are, where you're sitting right now, or what storm you're quietly surviving. But if you've clicked on this, you're already trying. And that means something. That means you still care. That means there's still a fighter in you. Buried under the noise, under the habits, under the guilt of 1,000 tomorrows that never came. So before we go any further, I want you to hear this not as a lecture, not as a sermon, but as a message from someone who actually wants to see you win. Because I've seen what this world does to people like you. People with dreams, people with fire, people with good hearts. It doesn't destroy them overnight. No, it distracts them. It feeds them comfort, dopamine, and small pleasures until they forget what real peace even feels like. We live in a time where attention is currency, and your mind is the marketplace. Every app, every notification, every scroll, every meaningless argument online, they're all competing to own your focus. And they're winning, not because you're weak, but because you've been wired to stay addicted to the phone, to the rush, to the escape. You've been taught to chase the next hit of happiness and to run from anything that feels like work, stillness, or discomfort. That's not laziness. That's conditioning. And it's killing the greatness that was supposed to come out of you. But today, right now, I want you to stop running. I want you to breathe. And I want you to listen, really listen, to the truth I'm about to tell you. Because if you stay with me through this message, if you give me your attention for the next few minutes, it might just be the moment your life starts to turn around. This isn't about guilt. It's about freedom. Freedom from dopamine slavery. Freedom from comfort addiction. Freedom from pain avoidance. Freedom from everything that keeps you numb. You've spent years scrolling through other people's lives. Now it's time to build your own. So sit up, take a deep breath, and listen, because this, right here, might be the wake-up call your soul has been waiting for. Let's talk about addiction, not as a disease, but as a prison we built ourselves. And the way out begins with one simple truth. You are stronger than the thing that controls you. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're addicted. Addicted to comfort. Addicted to distraction. Addicted to that small hit of dopamine that keeps you just comfortable enough to never change. It's not your fault that the world built a machine around your attention, but it is your responsibility to break free from it. You wake up, and before your eyes even adjust to the light, you reach for it. That tiny glowing rectangle that owns your focus, your time, your peace. You scroll, you swipe. You watch other people live their lives while yours quietly slips away in the background. You call it entertainment, you call it rest. But deep down, you know it's escape. See, addiction doesn't always look like bottles and needles. Sometimes it looks like comfort. It looks like that soft pillow of, I'll do it later. It looks like endless scrolling when you should be fighting for your dream. It looks like running from the mirror. Because deep down, you don't like what you see there anymore. You say, I'm tired. But you're not tired. You're empty. There's a difference. You're drained because every time life asks you to step up, you escape. Every time pain knocks, you hide. Every time fear whispers, you obey. That's addiction. The addiction to avoiding what hurts. The addiction to staying safe. The addiction to not facing your truth. You know what's crazy? We used to fear pain. Now, we fear silence. We can't even sit alone in a quiet room without reaching for something to fill the void. Because silence is the sound of truth, and truth terrifies us. You've built a world where you're surrounded yet alone, connected yet disconnected, busy but doing nothing, informed but uninspired. You keep saying, I'm working on myself. But most days, you're just scrolling through other people doing it better. Let me tell you something brutally honest. The world doesn't need more dreamers who scroll. It needs doers who suffer. And yes, I said suffer, because change is suffering. Growth is pain. And addiction is avoiding both. You've been sedated by convenience, numbed by instant gratification. You've mistaken the feeling of pleasure for the feeling of progress. And every day, that confusion costs you one more piece of your potential. You think you're in control of your phone. No, it controls you. You think you choose your distractions? No, they choose you. You've become the product. The algorithm studies your weakness and sells it back to you wrapped in comfort, validation, and dopamine. Every scroll says, don't face it. Every notification says, don't feel it. Every like says, don't fix it. And little by little, you forget what focus feels like. You forget what boredom feels like. You forget what real life feels like. But here's the truth. There's still time. You can still take your life back. Because addiction isn't a death sentence. It's a wake-up call. There's a part of you, buried deep under all the noise, that remembers who you were before the world numbed you. That part of you still wants to fight. It still wants to breathe. It still wants to live. But you have to choose it. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to unplug you from the comfort you've built around your own cage. You have to stand up. You have to face the withdrawal, not from a substance, but from your own avoidance. The shakes, the restlessness, the anxiety that comes when you stop running and finally sit with yourself. That's where the real battle begins. Let me paint you a picture. A man sits alone in his room. The world outside is loud, but inside it's silent. For the first time in years, he's not scrolling, not watching, not escaping. He's just sitting, listening, breathing. And it hurts, because silence is heavy when you've been hiding from yourself. He feels the weight of every wasted hour, every missed opportunity. Every day he traded meaning for comfort. But instead of running this time, he stays. He lets it burn. He lets it tear through the illusion. Because sometimes the only way to heal is to hurt. You think healing feels like peace. No, healing feels like war. It's the war between the part of you that wants to grow and the part that wants to stay comfortable. It's the war between who you are and who you could be. And the battlefield is your mind. Every morning you wake up and face the same enemy, the small voice that says, 5 more minutes, just one more scroll, you deserve a break. That voice is not your friend. That voice is your addiction, wearing the mask of kindness. And if you don't kill that voice, it will kill your dreams. You see, the world has made comfort cheap and pain expensive. But every legend, every great soul, every person who changed their life, they paid the price in full. They chose pain. They chose effort. They chose the uncomfortable truth over the comfortable lie, because they knew comfort is the slowest poison there is. So ask yourself tonight, what are you running from? What pain are you avoiding? What truth are you hiding from behind that glowing screen? What future are you trading for a moment's relief? Look at your hands. Look at your life. This right here is what comfort has given you. And if you don't fight back now, it'll take the rest. But if you do, if you decide to break the pattern, if you decide to sit through the silence, if you decide to face what you've been escaping, you'll find something miraculous waiting for you on the other side. You'll find clarity. You'll find purpose. You'll find power. Because the thing you've been running from all this time, that pain, that emptiness, that silence, that's where your real self has been waiting. And the moment you meet that version of you again, you'll realize you were never addicted to pleasure. You were addicted to forgetting who you are. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're addicted. Addicted to comfort. Addicted to distraction. Addicted to that small hit of dopamine that keeps you just comfortable enough to never change. It's not your fault that the world built a machine around your attention. But it is your responsibility to break free from it. You wake up, and before your eyes even adjust to the light, you reach for it. That tiny glowing rectangle that owns your focus, your time, your peace. You scroll, you swipe. You watch other people live their lives while yours quietly slips away in the background. You call it entertainment, you call it rest. But deep down, you know it's escape. See, addiction doesn't always look like bottles and needles. Sometimes it looks like comfort. It looks like that soft pillow of, I'll do it later. It looks like endless scrolling when you should be fighting for your dream. It looks like running from the mirror because deep down, you don't like what you see there anymore. You say, "I'm tired," but you're not tired. You're empty. There's a difference. You're drained because every time life asks you to step up, you escape. Every time pain knocks, you hide. Every time fear whispers, you obey. That's addiction. The addiction to avoiding what hurts. The addiction to staying safe. The addiction to not facing your truth. You know what's crazy? We used to fear pain. Now we fear silence. We can't even sit alone in a quiet room without reaching for something to fill the void. Because silence is the sound of truth, and truth terrifies us. You've built a world where you're surrounded yet alone, connected yet disconnected, busy but doing nothing, informed but uninspired. You keep saying, "I'm working on myself." But most days, you're just scrolling through other people doing it better. Let me tell you something brutally honest. The world doesn't need more dreamers who scroll. It needs doers who suffer. And yes, I said suffer, because change is suffering, growth is pain, and addiction is avoiding both. You've been sedated by convenience, numbed by instant gratification. You've mistaken the feeling of pleasure for the feeling of progress. And every day, that confusion costs you one more piece of your potential. You think you're in control of your phone. No, it controls you. You think you choose your distractions. No, they choose you. You've become the product. The algorithm studies your weakness and sells it back to you wrapped in comfort, validation, and dopamine. Every scroll says, "Don't face it." Every notification says, "Don't feel it." Every like says, "Don't fix it." And little by little, you forget what focus feels like. You forget what boredom feels like. You forget what real life feels like. But here's the truth. There's still time. You can still take your life back. Because addiction isn't a death sentence. It's a wake-up call. There's a part of you buried deep under all the noise that remembers who you were before the world numbed you. That part of you still wants to fight. It still wants to breathe. It still wants to live. But you have to choose it. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to unplug you from the comfort you've built around your own cage. You have to stand up. You have to face the withdrawal. Not from a substance, but from your own avoidance. The shakes, the restlessness, the anxiety that comes when you stop running and finally sit with yourself. That's where the real battle begins. Let me paint you a picture. A man sits alone in his room. The world outside is loud, but inside it's silent. For the first time in years, he's not scrolling, not watching, not escaping. He's just sitting, listening, breathing, and it hurts. Because silence is heavy when you've been hiding from yourself. He feels the weight of every wasted hour, every missed opportunity, every day he traded meaning for comfort. But instead of running this time, he stays. He lets it burn. He lets it tear through the illusion. Because sometimes, the only way to heal is to hurt. You think healing feels like peace. No, healing feels like war. It's the war between the part of you that wants to grow and the part that wants to stay comfortable. It's the war between who you are and who you could be. And the battlefield is your mind. Every morning, you wake up and face the same enemy. The small voice that says, 5 more minutes, just one more scroll. You deserve a break. That voice is not your friend. That voice is your addiction, wearing the mask of kindness. And if you don't kill that voice, it will kill your dreams. You see, the world has made comfort cheap and pain expensive. But every legend, every great soul, every person who changed their life, they paid the price in full. They chose pain. They chose effort. They chose the uncomfortable truth over the comfortable lie. Because they knew comfort is the slowest poison there is. So ask yourself tonight, what are you running from? What pain are you avoiding? What truth are you hiding from behind that glowing screen? What future are you trading for a moment's relief? Look at your hands. Look at your life. This right here is what comfort has given you. And if you don't fight back now, it'll take the rest. But if you do, if you decide to break the pattern, if you decide to sit through the silence, if you decide to face what you've been escaping, you'll find something miraculous waiting for you on the other side. You'll find clarity. You'll find purpose. You'll find power. Because the thing you've been running from all this time, that pain, that emptiness, that silence, that's where your real self has been waiting. And the moment you meet that version of you again, you'll realize you were never addicted to pleasure. You were addicted to forgetting who you are. All right, let's talk about the fight. Because that's what this is. Not a choice, not a phase, not a self-improvement trend. A fight between the version of you that's dying for change and the version that's terrified of it. And if you don't pick a side, the weaker one will win by default. You've spent years feeding your distractions. It's time to feed your discipline. That's how you begin. You don't find focus, you build it. You don't get control, you earn it. Every time you resist that small urge to escape, that's a brick in the wall of your freedom. Every time you sit with the discomfort instead of running, that's another chain you break. People think addiction is about substances, but it's not. It's about patterns. And patterns are built in silence, in moments no one sees. The moment you open your phone when you're bored, the moment you eat when you're sad, the moment you run when you should sit still. That's where you lose yourself. And that's also where you find yourself again. You want to break the cycle? Then learn to pause. Not every urge deserves a reaction. Not every emotion deserves escape. When that pull hits, when your hand reaches for your phone or your comfort, stop. Just stop. Breathe, feel it. That's not weakness. That's power. Because for the first time, you're making a choice instead of following a command. The hardest part about healing is not what you have to do. It's what you have to face yourself. You've avoided that meeting for too long. You've drowned your thoughts with noise, filled your emptiness with pixels, and silenced your own voice because it told you things you didn't want to hear. But hear me, the voice inside you is not your enemy. It's the compass you buried. And if you listen long enough, it will lead you home. But you have to let yourself feel again, pain, boredom, guilt, frustration, all of it. Because that's how your nervous system resets. That's how your mind detoxes from the chaos. This is not about deleting apps. It's about rebuilding attention. It's about teaching your brain that peace isn't something you scroll for. It's something you earn through stillness. You want to know why you can't focus? Because your brain has been trained to chase novelty instead of meaning. You've given it candy instead of nourishment. And now, when it tastes silence, it panics. But here's the secret: the mind that's addicted to distraction is the same mind that can master focus. It just needs to be retrained. You retrain it by starving the noise and feeding the purpose. Every time you resist the scroll, you feed the muscle of self-control. Every time you sit in discomfort, you stretch your tolerance for truth. Every time you do the hard thing first, you teach your brain that pain doesn't mean danger. It means growth. That's how you rewire yourself. Not overnight, not in a weekend challenge, but daily, brick by brick, breath by breath. And yes, you will fall. You will relapse into comfort. You will open the phone again just to check one thing. But the difference now is you'll notice. You'll see it happening. You'll hear that quiet whisper, "This isn't me anymore." And that awareness, that moment where you catch yourself before you fall too far, that's victory. Because this isn't about perfection, it's about progress. And progress is born in awareness. Once you see the chain, it can't control you the same way again. Let me be brutally honest. You can't heal in the same environment that made you sick. If you want to overcome addiction, you have to rebuild your environment to support your clarity, not your craving. That means silence over noise, discipline over dopamine, reality over fantasy. Clean your space. Declutter your digital life. Cut off the content that feeds your weakness and fill your mind with what fuels your strength. Because your mind is a garden. If you don't plant purpose, distraction will plant itself. And soon, the weeds of comfort will choke every dream you ever had. You want a new life. Then you have to earn new habits, and you earn them one decision at a time. Decide to wake up without checking your phone. Decide to walk without headphones. Decide to look people in the eyes again instead of at a screen. These are not small acts. They are silent revolutions. You think the world will change when you do something big. But no, the world changes when you take back the smallest things that addiction stole your mornings. Your focus, your peace. Start there. Start small. Start now. You don't need to destroy your addiction in a day. You just need to stop feeding it today and tomorrow and the next day, until one morning you wake up and realize the craving isn't as loud anymore. And in that silence, you'll find something you haven't felt in a long time: freedom. That's how it begins. Not with a dramatic speech or a perfect plan, but with a single honest moment when you decide, I'm done running. You'll shake, you'll sweat, you'll want to go back. Your brain will beg for comfort. But if you hold on just a little longer than you think you can, you'll feel the shift, a spark of strength returning, a whisper of control coming back. That's your real self, waking up from the coma of comfort. And that's when you'll understand every distraction you've ever chased was just fear in disguise. Fear of failure, fear of stillness, fear of truth. But the day you stop fearing your own thoughts is the day you stop being addicted to escape. You will start to see differently. The world will slow down. Your mind will sharpen. And the silence that once scared you will start to feel sacred. Because it is. It's the space where the old you dies and the new you begins. That's the moment where addiction loses its grip. Not when you delete an app, but when you finally say, I don't need this to feel alive. And when that happens, you'll realize you were never really addicted to pleasure. You were addicted to avoiding purpose. You didn't mean for it to happen this way. No one wakes up and says, today I'll lose myself. It happens quietly. One scroll, one excuse. One, I'll start tomorrow. And somewhere between yesterday's dreams and today's distractions, you stopped showing up for your own life. You became the shadow of your potential. Still breathing, still existing, but no longer alive. You laugh at short videos that vanish in seconds, but you forget that your days are vanishing just the same. The addiction didn't steal your phone. It stole your fire. It replaced your hunger with habit, your vision with validation, your purpose with pleasure. And every time you chose the easy path, you trained your brain to choose it again. Until one day, you forgot what effort even feels like. Now, when something challenges you, you panic. You call it stress. You call it burnout. But what it really is withdrawal from discomfort. Because the human soul, my friend, it's built to fight, to climb, to bleed, to build. You were not born to refresh a screen. You were born to rewrite your story. But addiction whispers. Why struggle when you can scroll? Why work when you can watch someone else do it? Why heal when you can hide? And just like that, it makes you forget that the pain of effort is always better than the pain of regret. You don't need another motivational quote. You don't need another perfect morning routine. What you need is truth. The truth that you are responsible for your own healing. The truth that the comfort you defend is the very thing that's killing your potential. Every time you run from hard things, you rob your future self of strength. And every time you give in to ease, you tell your brain, I can't handle discomfort. So your mind starts believing you. And before you know it, you're living in a prison you built with your own permission. Let me tell you something that hurts to hear. You can't hack your way out of addiction. You can't trick your mind into greatness. You have to fight for it. The fight is not glamorous. It's lonely. It's quiet. It's filled with relapsed doubt and the haunting voice of comfort calling you back. But that's the only way. Let me remind you, every time you give in to comfort, you lose something sacred. When you pick your phone instead of your goal, you lose presence. When you avoid the gym because you're tired, you lose integrity. When you choose distraction over discipline, you lose self-respect. And soon you start to believe you're not capable of more. That's what addiction does. It doesn't just steal your time, it steals your identity. It whispers, "This is who you are now, lazy, weak, dependent." But it's lying. Because inside you, buried beneath the rubble of wasted time, is the same warrior who once believed they could change the world. You don't need to find that version of yourself. You need to remember them. They're still there. They never left. They've just been waiting for you to stop numbing the noise long enough to hear their voice again. You think you need motivation to start, but what you really need is pain. Pain that wakes you up. Pain that burns away illusion. Pain that reminds you what's at stake. Because the truth is, you won't change when you want to. You'll change when staying the same becomes unbearable. And that's where you are now. Right on the edge between what you are and what you could be. You can feel it, can't you? That quiet ache in your chest. That voice saying, "You were meant for more." You've ignored it for too long. You've drowned it in noise. But it's still there. The faint heartbeat of your true self, waiting for you to come home. You want to know what's worse than failure? Numbness. Because failure means you tried. Numbness means you gave up before you even began. And that's what this addiction gives you. A slow death without the funeral. Every time you escape into your phone, you're not killing time, you're killing opportunity. Every mindless hour adds up. And one day, you'll wake up and realize the life you wanted was waiting for you, but you were too distracted to answer the call. You see, pain has a purpose. It builds you, but only if you let it. Comfort has a purpose too, to give you rest after battle, not to become your permanent home. And dopamine, it was never the enemy. It was just the teacher. A reminder that pleasure without purpose will always lead to emptiness. You've been living like life owes you something easy. It doesn't. It owes you nothing. But you owe yourself effort. You owe yourself honesty. You owe yourself the chance to see who you could become if you stopped running from yourself. Let that sink in. What if every distraction you chase is just a substitute for the courage you never used? What if the comfort you protect is the cage that's keeping you small? What if all along you weren't afraid of failure? You were afraid of responsibility. Because once you admit you're addicted, you lose the right to play the victim. And that's when change begins. No more pretending you're fine. No more blaming the system or the algorithm. It's time to take your mind back. It's time to become dangerous again, not to others, but to your own weakness. When you can sit in silence and not reach for escape, you become powerful. When you can feel pain and not run from it, you become free. Because freedom isn't doing what you want. It's mastering what you need. You can't delete your demons. You can only outgrow them. And the only way to outgrow them is to face the mirror. The raw, unfiltered version of yourself that doesn't need filters, likes, or validation. That's where recovery begins. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to win today. You just have to stop running, stop numbing, stop escaping. Stop lying to yourself about what this is. Because this is your wake-up call. This is the moment you stop surviving and start living. The moment you decide that no screen, no comfort, no temporary pleasure is worth more than your purpose. You don't need the world to believe in you. You just need to believe again that the world isn't meant to own you. This is the price of comfort. Your focus, your fire, your freedom. And the only way to get them back is to start paying the price of effort. You see, addiction is not just about what you consume. It's about what you've forgotten. You forgot who you were before the noise, before the constant notifications, before the endless scroll, before the world convinced you that peace was something you could download. Every addiction, dopamine, comfort, escape begins as an attempt to fill a void. And that void is usually the space where your purpose used to live. When you don't know why you're waking up, you'll reach for anything that makes you forget that question. That's how people lose themselves. Not in a single moment of weakness, but in 1,000 tiny surrenders. 5 more minutes on the phone. 1 more night ignoring the pain. 1 more excuse to stay comfortable. It's never one big decision. It's death by delay. But listen carefully, because here's where the story changes. You can rebuild. You can start again. You can reclaim every part of you that addiction borrowed. And it starts with one word: purpose. When a man has a purpose, he stops chasing pleasure. When a woman has a purpose, she stops running from pain. Purpose gives suffering meaning, and meaning gives pain a direction. Pain doesn't destroy you when it has a purpose. It sculpts you. It sharpens you. It burns away the weakness that comfort grew inside you. You've got to take all that guilt, all that shame, all that wasted time, and turn it into fuel. Every hour you lost can become a lesson. Every mistake you made can become a mirror. Every wound you carry can become wisdom. That's how you take your power back. People think recovery means avoiding temptation. No, recovery means replacing it. Replace scrolling with learning. Replace comfort with consistency. Replace the pain of withdrawal with the pride of progress. It's not about stopping something. It's about starting something greater. If you used to waste 4 hours a day on your phone, imagine what would happen if you spent those hours writing, training, creating, building something that outlives your cravings. If you used to escape into distraction every night, imagine what would happen if you faced your thoughts instead of fleeing them. If you actually listened to your fears, they'd tell you exactly where your growth lives. Rebuilding identity doesn't mean pretending you never fell. It means saying, yes, I fell, but I stood back up. It means forgiving the old you, not because you deserved forgiveness, but because you deserve freedom. And freedom begins the moment you stop being loyal to your past. Addiction thrives in identity confusion. It feeds on, I don't know who I am anymore. So answer that question clearly. Who are you now? Who do you want to be when nobody's watching? Who do you become when the phone is off, the room is silent, and the only voice left is your own? That's the moment of truth. And it's terrifying. Because when you take away distraction, you're forced to face the emptiness you've been avoiding. But that emptiness, that's not the end. That's the beginning. That's the soil where new dreams are planted. That's the silence where your real voice starts whispering again. That's the moment you stop performing for the world and start listening to your soul. You don't need to be perfect to start healing. You just need to be present. Stop asking, how do I quit this habit? Start asking, what is this habit trying to hide? Behind every addiction is an emotion, unhealed, unspoken, unnamed. When you heal that emotion, the addiction loses its grip. If you're addicted to dopamine, you're craving excitement because your life lost its meaning. So build something meaningful. If you're addicted to comfort, you're craving safety because you've been afraid to fail. So step into discomfort until it becomes your teacher. If you're addicted to escaping pain, you're craving peace, not pleasure. So sit in the pain until it transforms into peace. Pain doesn't want to destroy you. It wants to guide you. It's a messenger, not a monster. It's trying to say, something in your life needs to change. But when you drown that voice in noise, you never get the message. So stop running. Stop numbing. Stop pretending you're okay. Be raw. Be honest. Be human. Because the only way out is through. And when you walk through it, you will start to see the truth. You'll realize your pain was never a punishment. It was preparation. Preparation for the version of you that's finally awake, finally clear, finally free. You were never meant to live half alive, glued to a screen, chasing instant rewards, losing years to moments that never mattered. You were meant to create, to fight, to build something that lasts longer than a scroll. That's why you're here. That's why you're still listening. Because somewhere inside you, there's still a heartbeat that believes in more. And I'm telling you, you can have that more. Not when life gets easier, but when you get stronger. Not when the pain disappears, but when you finally understand what it came to teach you. So take the pain, take the past, take the addiction, and build with it. Because when pain becomes purpose, the same fire that once burned you starts lighting your way home. This is where the real story begins. You have not enough humanizer words left. Upgrade your surfer plan. Now listen, I'm not here to preach. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to remind you, you still have time. Because no addiction, no mistake, no wasted year can stand against a mind that finally decides to live again. You can't erase your past, but you can redeem it. You can use every mistake as proof that you were strong enough to survive and brave enough to start again. Every time you fell into distraction, you learned how fragile focus can be. Every time you ran from pain, you learned what avoidance costs. Every time you numbed your emotions, you learned how deeply you actually feel. Now you know. Now you understand what you're up against. And that knowledge, that awareness, that's your weapon. You can't build a new life by hating the old one. You build it by understanding it, forgiving it, and outgrowing it. Don't waste your energy on regret. Use it to rebuild. Use it to train your mind to choose meaning over momentary pleasure. Use it to fall back in love with being present. Because the opposite of addiction is not discipline. It's connection. Connection to yourself, to reality, to the people who matter, to the purpose you lost along the way. You don't need to disappear to find yourself. You just need to show up again and again when the world tells you it's easier not to. Show up for your mind. Show up for your body. Show up for the life that's still waiting for you to live it. And yes, there will be days when you slip. Days when the noise feels louder than your will. Days when the comfort whispers your name again. That's all right. You don't heal in straight lines. You heal in circles, each time returning a little stronger, a little wiser, a little freer. You'll know you're changing when silence no longer scares you, when effort starts to feel like peace. When you stop chasing highs and start chasing meaning, that's when you'll realize the greatest pleasure on earth isn't dopamine. It's self-respect. So here's my advice. Don't chase motivation. Build momentum. Don't wait to feel ready. Act ready. Don't seek comfort in escape. Find comfort in commitment. Wake up and take back your mornings. Protect your focus like your life depends on it. Because it does. And every night, before you close your eyes, ask yourself one question. Did I live today, or did I scroll through it? If the answer hurts, good. It means you're still alive enough to change it. You want to know the secret to overcoming addiction? It's not willpower. It's purpose. When you know what you're fighting for, when you have a mission greater than your craving, the chains begin to break. You stop saying, I can't live without this, and start saying, I don't need it to live. So stand up right now. Don't promise yourself tomorrow. Start here. Start now. Take one step, then another, then another. That's all recovery ever is. Tiny victories stacked until you forget what losing felt like. You will stumble. You will doubt. You will fall. But don't stay down, because every time you rise, the addiction loses a little more of you, until one day it's gone. And what's left is something far greater. Someone who's no longer defined by what they escaped from, but by what they became in the process. You are not your addiction. You are not your past. You are not the hours you wasted trying to feel something. You are what you choose to become now, and that choice, that beautiful, terrifying choice, belongs only to you. So choose life, choose effort, choose meaning. Choose to stand in the silence and face yourself until the noise fades away. Because when you do, you'll realize this was never about quitting an addiction. It was about remembering your power. The power to begin again, the power to feel again, the power to be free. You don't need permission. You don't need a miracle. You just need a moment of courage. And this, right here, can be that moment. Now go. Reclaim your mind. Reclaim your time. Reclaim your life. Because you, yes, you were never meant to be ordinary. You were meant to wake up. You were meant to rise. You were meant to be free. The addiction ends the moment you decide to live again. So when the screen fades and the world goes quiet, remember, you were never addicted to pleasure. you were starving for purpose. And that purpose is still waiting for you to come home. The day you stop running from your pain is the day your freedom begins.